So my poem is Because I Could Not Stop for Death by Emily Dickinson. I love Emily Dickinson and her poems, and they're always really interesting. So I'm going to start by following the steps, and step 1 of the poem analysis steps is to read the title. And the title of this poem is Because I Could Not Stop for Death. Now, because I have studied her before, not particularly this poem before, but Miss Emily Dickinson, I know that the title of her poem is actually always the same as the first line of her poem, because Emily Dickinson did not title her poems. So these actual titles are implemented by people who study her poems to know which one they're referencing. So it's interesting, though, that the title and the first line are the same. So that's something that I'm noticing about the title right away. Because I could not stop for death, and definitely because the word because is here, that makes me feel like it's going to lead me somewhere. Because I could not stop for death, that's one of my Arubis words I noticed, and that would be something that's going to lead me into a new idea. So already I can tell from the title that there's something that's going to happen because she could not stop for death. So that's interesting. So step 2 is read it straight through, and we're going to do that together as a class. So I'm going to go on to step 3, identify the narrator. And as I was reading, I see the narrator is an I, and she's talking about we, and here. And usually, even though Emily Dickinson is a poet who will write from the I perspective, it's not always herself talking. So I'm going to say that I think that we have a speaker in this poem. And I think that something that I've learned about her is that she possibly is on her way to die. Or she has died, maybe going to heaven. So I'm going to put that question mark there. So that's identifying my narrator, but I don't think it's Emily Dickinson. And the next thing I'm going to look at is identify what I do not know. There are several words in this poem that threw me as I was reading. And one of them, as I was going down, I know what civility means, but this is one that I might want to look up and make sure I understand in the context. That's an important one. And then the grazing grain, setting sun, quivering is a word I know too, but I just want to make sure I understand that one in context. I did not know gossamer, so I need to look this one up. I have no idea what that one means. And my tippet only tool, I still need to kind of understand what she's talking about here, so it's important for me to mark those and note what she means by that. And then another word that got me was summarized. I know what this word means. I think it means kind of like she realized, but I want to look that one up and make sure. Cornice. So I had several words in this particular poem that I was not so sure about, so I went through and circled those and know that I need to look those up. And the best step now is to go ahead and look those up so that I can understand those particular words better. And that's what I'm going to do before I go on to the next step of my annotations.